All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, it has been told to me that city manager Tim Salmon is out of his position as of last night, February the 12th, 2024. He will be replaced by Assistant City Manager Matthew Livingston. Now, this information I am taking once again from a Facebook post by the New Old North. It says, breaking news, Tim Salmon is no longer Goldsboro's city manager. As the city council at just after 11 p.m. Monday evening announced a mutual, and he says mutual in quotation marks, a mutual parting of ways. He will be replaced on an interim basis by current city manager Matthew Livingston. For a complete coverage of this week's story, see the February 18th edition of Wayne Week. Now, if you have been following this YouTube channel, you have probably seen a lot of videos referencing Tim Salmon, City Council's audit, some of the sentiments of individuals that that were not happy with some of his decisions and some of his tactics, managerial tactics. I've had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Tim Salmon, who started working as the city manager, and if I'm not mistaken, May of 2019. So he did not quite make it to the 5-year tenure. And during his tenure, there were several articles that surfaced of members leaving city government, and they reference a toxic work environment. That's what one individual said, and several other people left. And I think that the article was, why were so many city employees or city administrative positions leaving? And the consensus in a lot of the cases were Mr. Salmon's tactics. Now, like I said, I had the pleasure of meeting him. I think it was last year at a community event, and we sat at the table and talked, and I can see where he may have been a little stern. We talked, and I asked him questions, and he was a very straightforward answer type of guy. He told me about his military background. I think it was a Marine. So shout out to all the Marines. But Marines have a different type of get at it. I guess I'll say it like that. A different type of get down. And their actions and their stature and their stance and their aura and their demeanor, where I could see how some people who were not familiar with that type of character, that type of persona, may have been, put off, by his stance. Nevertheless, they said the city's assistant manager, what was his name? Matthew Livingston, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, because I definitely want to be impeccable with my words now that, I see that people sometimes will take your words not only out of context, but take your words and make them say what they want them to say. But yes, his name is Matthew Livingston. And I always joke when I go to, some of the public forums and the public discussions and where him and Tim Salmon were, you would think Tim Salmon was the assistant and Mr. Livingston was the manager, because, he was always speaking, and Tim would always be sitting back. And so hopefully he'll be able to, step in and to perform, amicably or admirably in the removal or the parting of Tim Salmon. Now, once again, we don't have all of the details. And matter of fact, I don't have any of the details. I am just getting this information. I also received a call early this morning from someone else who asked me, did I hear about it? And we discussed it as well. So it is definitely, because I did attend Goldsboro City Council meeting last night, and I did not see Mr. Salmon at his regular post. So yes, this definite article, and I didn't think about it then, but I think as the night wore on, I began to wonder, where was Tim at? And then of course I've been privy to certain information that led me to believe, as in earlier videos, that he was already on the hot seat. So evidently, that hot seat got a little bit too hot, and then he decided to get up and go cool off, for lack of a better analogy. But yes, it is apparent that Tim Salmon and the Goldsboro City Council, or the Goldsboro community, have parted ways. And like I said in the recent video, first video, like, he's probably going to go somewhere else with the resume to say, hey, I served as city manager in Goldsboro, North Carolina, and here I'm submitting my resume in Topeka, Kansas, or Staunton, Massachusetts, or Hattiesburg, Mississippi. These, and that is one, I think, kind of issue where, once again, we bring people in who have no loyalty, who have no dedication, who have no connection to this community, where they're only here for a job, and it's neither here nor there, or it's no skin off their back if the city is worse or better after they leave. And in this case, I think the city, in some people's opinions, has gotten worse under his tenure, and the current council and the current administration is still trying to recover from some of those things, like late audits and money mismanagement, and several things that have been covered in previous videos. But you know what I do, 919-587-7782. If anybody has any information to the contrary, please feel free to call me. I'm always open, and my line is never closed unless I'm asleep. 919-587-7782. Peace and blessings.